Devin here with Ground Force Metal Detecting. It's Memorial Day morning. I want to take a second to thank the American soldiers in the service and especially those who never came back. Um, I deeply appreciate it, so thank you. My my daughter's in basic training as we speak, and I worry about her, but I'm super proud. It's also raining. My neighbor has a lot of roosters, and I'm outside here. So there may be some roosters in this video. I'll give you a little disclaimer or a little little warning there. Got my Minelab Manticore out here with me today. Okay. This video is for people who just bought the Minelab Manticore or thinking about buying it. Maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you've had the Manticore for a while and you just want to kind of go through the menu with me and maybe hit on something that you didn't realize. Who knows, right? Everybody can learn something. There's nobody nobody knows it all, right? Anyway, so let's get into this. I'm going to start by doing a factory reset on this machine. And the way you do that is the upper left power button, I'm going to hold it in, okay? And you'll see that it's going to tell me that it's doing a factory reset, okay? And it says complete. Now, the thing about the Manticore, all right, the interface and the screen is the most intuitive metal detector in the world, all right? This thing tells you what you're doing, tells you what you need to do to adjust a setting. It even has explanations for the different modes if you hit the information, which I'll go into here and I'm going to show you. It's really cool. Especially for somebody who's maybe a semi-beginner and went all in and got a Manticore. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that because this machine is so intuitive that it almost tells you what to do as you detect. The layout of the screen, the main things on here are your sensitivity in the left here. You see it's at 20. Your signal strength meter on the right here, which is also called a depth meter, but metal detectors don't actually tell depth. They can only tell signal strength. So no metal detector's depth meter is really telling you the depth, it's telling you the signal strength, okay? Fun fact. Did you know rabbits can't have carrots or shouldn't? Just found that out. Speaking of fun facts, just found out that carrots are bad for rabbits. And the only reason people think rabbits eat carrots is because of Bugs Bunny back in the day was imitating some Clark Gable movie eating a carrot. And that stuck. And throughout the years, now everybody forgets all about Clark Gable and they just think rabbits eat carrots. Fun fact for you. In case you see a rabbit out there eating a carrot, take it. Get it out of there. It's bad. All right, enough of that. You've got your upper right here key is controls your whether or not your wireless headphones are on or off. You've got soft keys. You've got 3 soft keys here, and soft keys are like speed dial for a setting. Okay, you hit that while you're in the field, and it instantly takes you to that setting. Now it's set up with the upper right one here with the little person. That's your favorite mode. And you've got metal or discrimination or all metal selector here with the horseshoe, and this one is kind of a notch. I forget what the actual Minelab term is. It notches out that VDI that you're on. I don't ever use that. So you've got your gear icon in the middle here. That's always there. That's to go to your settings menu, and then you've got your 4 arrow keys to control what you're doing. Up in the upper right is your battery level, and up in your upper left is your mode you're on. Okay, and you'll have to learn the symbols to tell what that means. So let's go ahead and hit the gear icon here. And the first thing is volume. And you notice how nice and clear and big everything is when you want to go and change something. I'm going to leave the volume alone right now. And we just do, so when you're in the settings menu, your settings are up the left-hand column here. You just go up arrow, okay? Up arrow, and this gives you your search mode. So we're in all-terrain general to start out. Now let's just say you're in a search mode and you're like, well, you know, what is this really doing in this search mode? So just hit the pencil, okay? And three things come up. I can make that mode my favorite, and then it'll be on this button as a quick select. I can reset just that mode, okay? I don't have to factory reset. If I mess up something in a mode, I can reset just that mode without factory resetting my whole machine and changing all the modes. But the thing I'm talking about here is the info button, all right? If you go and see, it tells you, give me a right-hand arrow. Okay, let's do it. And look at that. Inland general purpose detecting. Excellent all-around performance for most targets and conditions. And it gives you a rating on target separation and target rejection of 4 stars. It's like if we went out here and we go to all-terrain fast, all right? Pencil, info. Inland detecting, optimized for separation of targets. Coke rejection makes this mode suitable for sites of ancient habitation. Target separation, 5 stars. Trash rejection, only 2 stars. And this is kind of neat. You know, if you've never gone through this, you're going to learn something. Okay? Low conductors. Inland detecting, optimized for small or thin metal objects such as, I'm not going to read every one of these, okay? Trash separation, trash rejection, 5 stars, 4 stars. I'm not going to go through every one, but that is a cool feature. It gives you kind of the behind the scene look at what that mode is really set up for. Okay, and we're going to go back out. Let me go back to general all terrain. All right, and we're going to go up. Okay, noise cancel. This noise cancel works really good on this detector. Okay, noise cancel is for when you're getting EMI, electromagnetic interference. Videos on that. I'm not going to dig into what that is. All right, and you hit the button once, and it does an automatic noise cancel. But you notice if you hit it again, it's different sometimes. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's different. But if you hold it, it'll roll through several, and it's selecting, okay, there it's selected one, but it'll stabilize. It'll change, and then it'll stabilize on the best one. So it's selecting a band of frequencies with the least EMI detected. There's not a lot of EMI here right now. Even though I'm outside my house, I'm not getting any EMI. The next one up is ground balance, and you can manually ground balance this machine, or you can turn on ground tracking right here. Now, ground tracking, although it has a bad rap, you know, people say you'll miss targets if you use ground tracking, but on the Manticore, this thing, the technology is advanced to the point where ground tracking works pretty darn good. Don't know if I'd use it all the time. I wouldn't use it in extremely trashy situations or very dense garbage situations, just because there's just too many targets in the ground, and it just doesn't really have a chance to read clean ground anyway. But like at the beach, I use ground tracking. In a large field or somewhere where there's not a lot of garbage, I use ground tracking. I tend to like it. Recovery speed goes from 0 to 8 on this machine. Left and right changes it. Okay, see the red arrows are telling you what to do to change it. Very intuitive. And we're not going to go into what recovery speed is today. Different videos on that. I mean, watch them. Now, all right, discrimination on the Manticore. Okay, this is going to go into a little bit of explanation. All right, so you've got discrimination pattern. You've got 2 areas of discrimination, and not everybody thinks of this, and I don't think I've heard anybody call it this, but ferrous limits and your discrimination pattern are both discrimination. Okay, the way the 2D screen works, let's go back to the main screen here. This is your 2D screen. Okay, you've got a center line going down the center, and you've got these grayed out areas. All your grayed out areas are discriminated targets, okay? Discriminated target zones. You've got a left and a right on this 2D screen. Left to right is your VDI, or your conductivity, okay? Up and down is your ferrous property, okay? Ferrous property is whether something exhibits the properties of iron. What are the properties of iron? Basically magnetism, whether it'll stick to a magnet, okay? And that's simplifying it down pretty far. Definitely not going into the technicalities of that and how that works, but basically you've got your center line right here is indicating a non-ferrous target. Anything that's up and down in an up and down direction on that center line is a non-ferrous target, okay? And there's a range from that center line up and down to the extreme up and the extreme down. All right, the extreme up is going to be your small, there's a rooster. The extreme up is going to be your small iron objects, nails, etc. And the extreme down is going to be large iron objects, okay? And there's a range in between, okay? So something could be slightly above the line or slightly below the line. And it's just the machine telling you that, hey, it's close to being non-ferrous, but I detect some kind of ferrous property, okay? Could be some corrosion, could be mineralization, could be the ground, could be something in close proximity or touching the target, or could be part of the target, okay? A target could be a nail with an aluminum washer and have an elongated blob because it sees the aluminum and it sees the iron and it sees that it's the same target, so it's going to make a blob. And that blob means that, hey, it's both of these things, okay? It's non-ferrous and ferrous. And maybe it's two targets. Maybe you've got a target over here and a target over here on the screen. One's a lower conductivity than the other, but it's showing you both. But it can only show you one number. So what do other metal detectors do? They either average those two targets together, or it's the VDI number is the sum of those two VDIs if your detector detects two targets. It doesn't tell you it's two targets, but the Manticore does. That's one of the main things about the Manticore, is it tells you if it's detecting two targets at once. Now, discrimination, back to discrimination. So, up and down discrimination is the ferrous limits menu, okay? You can set your up and down discrimination. That's what ferrous limits are. Left to right discrimination is set with discrimination patterns, which are complex to set, but that's what they are. So your discrimination pattern controls your VDI and your conductivity discrimination, and your ferrous limits controls your ferrous discrimination. You're discriminating only what you want the detector to tell you, okay? Targets are detected regardless. Neither discrimination pattern or ferrous limits changes what the detector detects. It doesn't open up the machine. It doesn't make it deeper. It doesn't make it more powerful. The targets have been detected prior to your discrimination taking effect or even coming into play. And that goes for ferrous limits or discrimination pattern. You're basically just controlling those gray areas. That's all it is. Now, what happens with those gray areas? Okay, if a target falls in the gray area and you're in discrimination mode with this horseshoe, right now we're in discrimination mode. This horseshoe is not lit. The horseshoe indicates all metal, okay? We're in discrimination mode. So these gray areas are discriminated. When I'm in discrimination mode and something falls in that gray area, okay, I'm going to get a blip on the screen still in the gray area, but I won't get a tone at all, and I won't get a number at all, okay? If I turn this to all metal mode, okay, now, if something falls in the gray, it's still gray, just a lighter gray. Okay, something falls in that gray area, I'm going to get an iron grunt tone, and I'm going to get a black or a red number. So red indicates ferrous, and ferrous has its own scale on the Manticore. Okay, 0 to 100. Ferrous. Ferrous or non-ferrous is indicated by color, not by VDI on the Manticore. Okay, just because something has a low conductivity on the Manticore does not make it ferrous. Red makes something ferrous. Okay, or being up and down on the screen. It's not like Deus 2, low VDI is going to be ferrous. It's not. This is a different system. Okay, different concept. Ferrous has its own 0 to 99 or 1 to 99 VDI. And then non-ferrous has a 1 to 99 VDI. Black numbers. And you can set that to have either just an underline of red under the black number, or you can make the whole number red, which I like to do. Okay, I don't know. That's a personal preference, okay? That's discrimination on the Manticore, okay? Discrimination is a visual and audio function, okay? It's not making the detector perform differently. It's changing the way it reports it to you, okay? It's not detecting more targets, okay? The way you detect more targets or get deeper is with frequency, with sensitivity, with reactivity speed. I think that's pretty much it. And with ground balance, okay? Those are the things that make a detector detect deeper or different, more targets, okay? Not the way you decide you want it to report it to you, okay? Let's go, we're at ferrous limits. I explained ferrous limits, and a lot of guys, I tend to just leave it alone, use the factory ferrous limits, the factory discrimination pattern. I don't find much value in messing with that, because I'm looking for non-ferrous targets anyway. If you're looking for ferrous targets, such as, maybe you're looking for relics, maybe you're looking for iron relics, maybe you're looking for iron coins. If you're in a different country than me, I'm in the United States. Our coins are all non-ferrous, and I look for a lot of coins. I look for silver coins, and I don't need my ferrous limits can be pretty high. If I'm going to be honest about it, if I was going to adjust them, if I'm going to be adjusting my ferrous limits, looking for silver coins, I'm going to make those ferrous limits really high and make that gray area really a lot of it gray, so that I'm only really detecting targets very close to that center line. But I tend to just leave it alone from factory. I like the way they set it up. I mean, this machine right out of the box is ready to detect. It's not like a lot of machines where you got to tweak and put custom programs in and all this stuff. I mean, this thing is pretty much ready to go, okay? And if we're going up, ferrous volume, okay? So when I'm in all metal mode and I'm hearing the ferrous grunt, that's the volume. I can set that to be louder or softer, compared to the good tones. I like to turn it up a little bit, because I'll run in both discrimination mode and all metal mode. Just depends on my mood and the terrain, okay? It depends if I'm getting a bunch of so much iron that I'm not really, that I think it might be kind of clouding out the good tones, I'll run in discrimination mode. One of the things I did find is that when it's in all metal mode, okay, sometimes those iron tones, that iron will overrun a good target, and the good target will just blip in the background a little bit. But if you have it in discrimination mode, it tends to pick out those good targets, and then just switch to all metal mode to make sure you're not getting iron falsing. Just a little thing that I do sometimes. It depends on your terrain, depends on your environment, what your land, what you're detecting. Depends on the target you're looking for too, and it depends. Metal detecting depends. It depends is the favorite word. My favorite word describing metal detecting. If you ask me a question about metal detecting, the answer almost always starts with, well, that depends. Okay, target tones. This is for your good targets, all right? And you can customize this and tweak this down to the individual VDI. You can have such a plethora of choices here. Two region all tones. Now, what regions are, okay? Regions are blocks of tones, kind of like your tone breaks. But in the Manticore, you can have two regions. So let's go through the choices. One tone, okay? One tone for every accepted tone. All right, two tones. And you've got two accepted tones. Now, this is not telling me one of them's discriminated. This is two accepted tones, a high and a low. I can have 5 tones. I can have one region all tones. So that's like full tones on a DS2. So it goes up on a sliding scale from 1 to 99. Each one has its own progressively higher tone. 2 region all tones. So I can have a low block of tones with its own sliding scale, and then I can have this block of tones with higher VDI with a higher scale. Or I can have one tone at a certain point. I can set those to be one tone up to 50, and then 51 to 99 I'll have a sliding scale. I can change all that. This is 5 region all tones. I can actually have one tone over here and one tone over here and a sliding scale over here and a sliding scale up here. I can break this down, and you could spend hours tweaking it, okay? For what end or purpose? I'm not sure. I don't really spend my time doing that. And that's it. So I tend to use one region all tones, okay? Simple. Keep it simple. I like one region all tones. Audio themes, okay? You've got audio themes: normal, enhanced, or depth, okay? Or prospecting. So a normal tone is kind of like the Deus 2 with the audio response up, okay? A normal tone will amplify deep, kind of soft tones. It will amplify the soft tones, and it's more of a flat response. Okay, you're going to get not so much of a volume with difference with deep tones, okay, or deep targets. Enhanced is more of a separation of soft deep tones, soft deep targets with louder shallow targets. Okay, that's what enhanced does. It's kind of like that's what I use. I use enhanced. Okay, depth is going to be proximity to the target. Okay, that's your pitch tone, and prospecting is also a pitch tone. They're two different ones. Now, on each of these, you can also go into the pencil and go one level deeper. Let's just say I'm on enhanced. You can set your threshold on your pencil. On any audio theme, you can set your threshold if you like to use a threshold, and your profile. So you've got simple, medium, and rich. And these are levels of difference in soft versus loud tones, okay? I like rich. I like to hear the depth of my target more. Like, I like to hear the soft tones compared to the loud tones. So I use enhanced rich. And here's the thing about metal detecting, and especially with a metal detector this advanced. Pick a sound profile. Okay, this is my tip for you on this detector. Pick a sound profile and stick with it. Your brain needs consistency to learn a detector, okay? So you're going to have some hours in this detector to kind of learn the sounds, learn the behavior, learn the 2D screen. There's a learning curve here, but doesn't mean that it's hard, okay? It's not a hard detector to use. It's pretty darn easy. but you do have to develop a little bit of an understanding. And with any detector, okay, your brain needs consistency to learn the behavior and the sound. So pick a sound profile and use it all the time. You don't have to pick it on day one, but settle in on one. Okay, backing out of here. Frequency. Multi-IQ, use that all the time. I never vary from multi-IQ. Really, I've never had to. The only reason I would vary from multi-IQ is with extreme EMI. Extreme EMI, you can go to single frequency to help mitigate EMI, and you have 40, 20, 15, 10, 5, or multi-IQ. I'm on multi-IQ 99.9999% of the time. Okay. Then your top of the menu there is your general settings, and then you have another gear icon here to go into that. Now, this is your basic settings. Okay. The one that I use on here all the time is I go down. Let's go through them. Okay. Your English language. You can turn vibration on and off. I don't use that. Lighting is kind of neat. So you got lighting here. Let's go in to see the red arrow. Okay. I can brighten my display. I can brighten just my keypad, and I can turn a flashlight on. And when I turn a flashlight on, I've got 3 different brightnesses of flashlight. So I've got a flashlight coming out of the front of that detector pointing at the coil. It's kind of a nice feature. Not all detectors have that. And it's nice to just turn up your keypad or turn down your display. If you're detecting and it's kind of dark out and you don't want that display to be as bright, it's blindingly bright in the dark. So you might want to turn it down. That's a nice feature. And it's, control the keypad separately. That's sweet. Okay, soft keys. This is where you set up your soft keys that I talked about. So red arrow, and you pick a soft key. Pick a soft key with your up and down arrow. Okay, accept or reject, that's what they call that. So favorite mode up on the right here, all metal on the left, accept, reject. Now this is the one I change here. So and you can scroll through these left and right. So I can do a noise cancel, 1 button push, which is what I use. I can put the ground balance there. I can put favorite mode there. I can change search modes with that button. I can turn a flashlight on with that button. I can change the display backlight. I can do a sensitivity boost. Okay, so sensitivity boost. Here's the thing about the sensitivity on the Manticore. All right, Minelab made the Manticore, or gave the Manticore, a 1 to 35 sensitivity range. Now, lots and lots of people are going to tell you this, not just me. All right, and it's the truth. You do not want to run this machine at high sensitivity. Okay, you're going to get a lot of noise and false targets running high sensitivity. And by high sensitivity, I'm talking about 29, 30 and above. Never ever, I never ever use sensitivity that high. Normal detecting, you only need about sensitivity of 20. I run, on the beach now. I'll dump that down to like 18, and you get plenty. Believe me, plenty of depth at 18 sensitivity. I'll run normal detecting if I'm not getting any noise. I'll run about 24, 23, 24 sensitivity. Sometimes though, I'll be running 24, maybe even 25, and I'm getting a bunch of, I'm digging some nails and stuff because they were falsing. Back at sensitivity down to 19 or 20, and suddenly its targets start popping out. And believe me, run a low sensitivity on this machine. Okay, do not run the machine with cranked up sensitivity. Okay, it's just not. It's built to have a sensitivity up to 35, but the machine just is not stable at that sensitivity. it just shouldn't be used at that sensitivity. You want to go from about an 18 to a 25. That's your range. Okay. So the sensitivity boost. So if let's just say you're at 18 or 20 and you're barely hitting a target, you can hit that sensitivity boost and see if if it picks it out any better. You know, I think it boosts it like 5 points. I'm not even sure what the number is. Speaker, you can mute your speaker. You can go straight to recovery speed. You can go straight to frequency. You can clear your ID map. Okay, so if you're getting a bunch of blobs on your screen and you don't want to wait to 10 seconds for them to clear, you can hit the clear ID map. Okay, you're in you're in a hurry. You got a schedule to keep. You can put all metal mode over there if you wanted. If you would rather hit all metal mode on the right side, and back to accept reject. So those are your soft keys. Going down, okay, ferrous indication. So you can have your default red line under the numbers, or you can go to completely red numbers. Two choices. I use completely red numbers. This is the one thing that I go to in this menu and turn on 100% of the time. I always run red numbers. You can do a factory reset from this menu, complete factory reset. Underwater boost, okay. Good question. Not sure exactly what underwater boost does. Check the manual. I've never used it. Software info and compliance, which is just technical stuff. We don't need to worry about that. So if you go to underwater boost under, hey, it's a Manticore. Let me read what it is. Only used with Minelab waterproof headphones. High volume may harm your hearing. So it's a boost for your headphone volume. And you can turn that on and off. It's a headphone volume boost. There. I just used the Minelab Manticore's information to find something out that I didn't know. And we're back to the main screen. And that's it, okay? This machine is not difficult to use, okay? There's an understanding that you have to, there's a learning curve. You have to learn how things work. There's a learning curve with any metal detector. But you would not go wrong buying this metal detector, even as a beginner, if you want to spend the money, okay? I mean, you probably want to be sure that you're going to stick with metal detecting before you fork out the 1,700 or whatever this thing is today. It goes on sale though. I think the retail price is $17.99 US, and it goes on sale. The best sale they had was it was down to $1,300. It's just when I bought it. So I bought it when it was $12.99.99, and that's the best deal that they've run that I've seen. And now I think it's $1,500 on sale. It'll go down. It goes up and down. Minelab runs sales all the time on all their equipment. But great detector, very very consistent with VDI, very accurate detector, and it is probably the deepest detector out there. Now, coils, okay, comes with the 11-inch coil. This is the stock coil it comes with. It's a good coil, okay? It's a good coil. I went and bought, and I researched this, okay? I have the M9 9-inch coil, okay? And it works so good that I don't even switch coils, okay? I went to the beach. I kept the 9-inch coil on. I didn't switch to a bigger coil. 11-inch coil is not really significantly deeper than the 9-inch, if at all deeper, okay? When you look at depth of a metal detector on a double D coil, and this is something people don't realize, that your double D coil is 2 coils, a left and a right, okay? So you have to measure the width only of half of your coil. So the left half, I don't know if it's the left or the right, that's proprietary, but let's just say it's the left. The left half of your coil on a 9-inch coil is 4.5 inches wide, okay? The left hand coil of an 11-inch coil is 5.5 inches wide, okay? 1 inch difference, 1 inch wider, 1 inch wider receive coil. And it's only that much wider at the widest point. So think about that. Your detection zone's down the middle. You're getting 1 inch wider, but only at the widest point. Okay. It's not much deeper. Okay. And the width of your receive coil is what gives a metal detector more or less depth. Okay. This is my time, roosters. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate it. Happy Memorial Day. And swing away.